Odysseus returned to Ithaca alone. Every man who sailed with him was dead. Inside his palace, 108 noblemen were eating his fortune, plotting to murder his son, and demanding that his wife marry one of them. Penelope had no army, no sword, only a loom, a bow, and one lie about a bed. Somehow, she won. We remember the Odyssey as the story of the man who outwitted monsters and crossed a hostile sea. But Odysseus survived because gods rescued him, strangers sheltered him, and soldiers fought beside him. Penelope fought a quieter war, inside her own home, surrounded by enemies who believed patience was weakness. And the poem slowly reveals that she may be the only mind equal to his. Odysseus had been gone for 20 years, 10 at Troy, and roughly 10 struggling home. By then, Telemachus, the infant he left behind, was a young man. The princes of Ithaca and the surrounding islands assumed Odysseus was dead. Homer gives their number precisely: 52 from Dulichium, 24 from Same, 20 from Zacynthus, and 12 from Ithaca. 108 men, with attendants, occupying the palace day after day. They called themselves suitors, but this was not courtship. They slaughtered the household's cattle, emptied its wine, consumed Telemachus's inheritance, and later prepared an ambush to kill him. Marrying Penelope could open the way to Odysseus's household and power. Yet Penelope could neither drive these armed nobles out nor safely choose one. So she invented a deadline. She would marry only after finishing a burial shroud for Laertes, Odysseus's elderly father. Every day, where everyone could see, she wove. And every night, by torchlight, she quietly pulled the threads apart. For 3 years, the future the suitors demanded appeared on her loom each day and vanished each night. Her plan failed only when one of her own servants revealed it. The suitors caught her unweaving and forced her to finish. But that betrayal proves the scale of what she had done. Without guards, weapons, or public authority, Penelope had held more than 100 powerful men in place with a story and a piece of cloth. That sounds familiar, because deception is Odysseus's greatest weapon too. Trapped by the Cyclops, he gave his name as Nobody, blinded the monster, and escaped beneath the bellies of sheep. It was brilliant. Then, already safe at sea, he could not bear to let the Cyclops believe nobody had defeated him. Against his crew's pleas, Odysseus shouted his real name. The Cyclops called upon his father, Poseidon, to make Odysseus return late, broken, and without his companions. The god heard him. Odysseus's intelligence repeatedly saves him. His hunger to be recognized repeatedly costs him. Penelope possesses the same cunning, but almost the opposite discipline. She wins by hiding the victory. There is no applause when she unravels the shroud. No bard announces the knights she has stolen back. The men around her mistake restraint for surrender, which is exactly why her next move works. When Penelope finally appears before the suitors, she reminds them of an inconvenient rule. Proper suitors bring gifts. They do not devour a woman's household. The men rush to send her embroidered robes, gold, amber, earrings, and necklaces. Odysseus, already home but disguised as a beggar, watches in delight. After years of seeing them consume his estate, Penelope makes the men robbing her begin to repay it, while each man believes he is getting closer to winning her. Then husband and wife finally sit across from each other. Odysseus lies about who he is. Penelope speaks to the stranger about a dream. 20 geese feed inside her home. An eagle descends and breaks their necks. Then it speaks with her husband's voice. The geese are the suitors, it says, and the eagle is Odysseus. The disguised king tells her the meaning cannot be misunderstood. Penelope refuses to accept it, and immediately announces a contest using Odysseus's bow. This is one of the poem's great mysteries. Did she still believe her husband was dead? Or had she recognized him and placed a weapon within his reach? Homer never tells us for certain. The challenge is simple to describe and almost impossible to perform. Penelope will marry the man who can string Odysseus's bow and shoot an arrow through 12 aligned axe heads. One suitor after another strains and fails. Even Telemachus nearly strings it before Odysseus signals him to stop. Then the old beggar asks for a turn. The room erupts in mockery. He takes the bow, examines it, and strings it as effortlessly as a musician tightens a lyre. The arrow flies cleanly through all 12 axes. The doors are secured. The weapons have been removed. The beggar turns the bow toward the feast. What follows is Odysseus's violent victory, aided by Telemachus, loyal servants, and Athena. Penelope does not witness the killing. She has been sent upstairs. So we cannot honestly claim she planned the massacre. But whether by recognition, instinct, or divine influence, her contest created the opening through which Odysseus reclaimed the palace. And still Penelope does not accept him. The blood is washed away. The stranger looks like Odysseus. He knows their history. Telemachus angrily accuses his mother of having a heart harder than stone. But Penelope has survived 20 years in a world of disguises, rumors, and gods who can wear human faces. And the man before her is history's greatest liar. So she tells a servant to move their marriage bed. Odysseus erupts. The bed cannot be moved. He carved it around the trunk of a living olive tree and built the room around it. Only 3 people know the secret. Penelope has defeated the master of deception with one false instruction. Only then does she embrace him. But later ancient storytellers tried to reverse Homer's portrait. One accused her of being seduced by Antinous. A scandalous version attributed to Doris claims she slept with every suitor and gave birth to the goat god Pan. Another said Odysseus killed her over Amphinomus. Pausanias recorded a Mantinean story that he expelled her for bringing lovers home. None of this is Homer. These contradictory later versions show how provocative her reputation had become. Homer gives the final judgment in the underworld. The dead Agamemnon praises Penelope's understanding and loyalty, then says the fame of her virtue will never perish, because the gods themselves will make a song in her honor. That is the immortal reputation Greek warriors crossed seas and died to earn. Odysseus receives glory for getting home. Penelope receives glory for ensuring that, after 20 years, there was still a home and a self to return to. He survived monsters. She survived the men inside her own walls. So, who was the Odyssey's greatest hero? Odysseus, who reclaimed his kingdom, or Penelope, who made sure it could still be reclaimed?